I think we're live finally. Oh my gosh. Let me know if you could see me and hear me because my camera was giving me a hard time. But yep, we're live today. It's been so long since I've done a live stream. I'm super excited. I hope that everybody's enjoying their summer. Let me know if you could see me and hear me so that I don't have to do this again later. Any issues with the audio, let me know. But yeah, I'm going to wait for a few of you to hop on. Today's topic is how to build confidence, how to build unshakable confidence. Okay, not cookie cutter how to be confident. Let's do a deep dive on what it really means to build confidence. And a lot of it is centered around where you get your sense of confidence from, where your identity is rooted. That is what's going to create unshakable confidence because nobody can take it away from you. And not only is it unshakable confidence, but it's true confidence. Okay. So there's that saying of, fake it until you make it. Like we've all heard that saying, fake it till you make it. And I love that. I'm totally here for that. That kind of goes hand in hand with the act as if, just way of thinking. But you're not meant to fake it forever. Okay, you're meant to eventually get yourself to a place where now you feel confident, now you made it, right? And I feel like people stay in this perpetual state of faking confidence, faking a sense of well-being, maybe appearing confident but not truly being confident. And I want to just kind of do a deep dive on that topic today, so let's talk about it. I only have an hour, maybe a little bit less, actually less because it took me a while to get set up. So come with your questions, definitely add to the conversation if any of this speaks to you. Hi, TikTok. Today we're talking about how to build unshakable, true confidence. And this whole live stream will be recorded and put on my YouTube channel. I'm going to put it in the chat right here. Well, actually, you could find a link to my YouTube on my page. Okay, I'll link everything on my YouTube channel of where to find me, but I want to just get into today's topic right away. So let me pull up my chat on YouTube and then we're going to get started. Today's topic is how to build unshakable true confidence. We're not going to stay in this place of fake it till you make it. We're going to make it now. We're done faking. Okay, we're going to build actual, real, true confidence. And why does this even matter? Listen, I'm not going to be like, wait until the end of the live stream. Let's just talk about why this matters right now. I'm just going to give it to you super direct. One of the major benefits of actually having true confidence, unshakable confidence, my work is I work personally only with women, but I do think this concept can be applied to both genders. Having a true sense of confidence is a form of psychological self-defense. So being truly confident is a way that you can defend yourself psychologically from people, okay? From things, from situations. That's building resilience and, just it helps you create the life that you want because you're not constantly in this push and pull of like people influencing you and triggering you and stuff. That's why having true confidence actually matters. So let me know if that makes sense. Having true confidence, unshakable confidence, is psychological self-defense. You guys like MMA, right? You guys like that fighting, WWE, whatever. You guys boxing, you can name all your favorite fighters, right? What about psychologically? How are you fighting for your mind psychologically against people, against systems? Okay, it's having confidence. That's a part of it. Okay, it's not so shallow, it's actually very deep. And newsflash, all right, this is gonna be super cancelable, but something I've noticed is that when you actually do the inner work to actually become confident, to better your life, to be in a place of like, okay, I'm happy now, I got, like you're actually happy and truly confident. I don't know why, but people don't like that. Like people don't like that, and actually you have a new set of problems now. So no, it's not for anybody else. That's I guess what I'm trying to say there. But the importance of building true unshakable confidence on a deeper core level is that it is a form of psychological self-defense. And why that matters is because your mental health can be severely damaged. You can be very prone to anxiety, stress, depression if you are not fighting back. So are you just going to take it? Are you just going to take all of these things thrown at you and play dead and become anxious, become depressed, believe all of these negative thoughts? Or are you going to fight against them? Okay, that's kind of like the difference between people that are mentally weak and mentally strong. Which one are you? And that's why we're talking about this topic today. Thanks for joining this live stream on YouTube and on TikTok. Today's live stream title, I kind of preface what we're talking about, but today's live stream, how to build unshakable confidence and finally feel in control of your life. And no longer fake it, right? Fake it till you make it. Okay, yes, act as if, get into that vibe. But eventually we got to take the training wheels off and stop faking and actually get to where we're trying to be. So let's talk about how we build true confidence, why it matters, building unshakable confidence. Hint, how to build unshakable confidence has to do with where your identity is rooted in. And if it's something that can be taken away easily or fluctuates a lot, then that true confidence? You guys let me know. But yeah, so someone said confidence come from a history of success. Yes, exactly. That's what we're going to talk about today a little bit later. But that's definitely true. And that I'm going to add to that. Let me know what you think. That confidence comes from, yeah, overcoming like difficult situations. And I feel like that's why some people who have had everything handed to them and come from a place of privilege, no judgment at all, just from observation, people sometimes they have a problem with self-esteem because they never got put to the test of having to overcome all of these hard things. So then it's like so weird. And, a big mental shift for me was when I would meet people who are like very wealthy, very successful. And I don't know why I just automatically assumed that they are very intelligent, very strong, very resilient because, they have all of this. So that was just kind of what I assumed. And then I noticed that some people who were born into it, and they just kind of came from that background, they have a lot of insecurity and like mentally they're not so strong, and they're more susceptible to like I don't know how to say, but they externalize how they're getting their confidence. Like they need other people, they need physical things to like validate them and show that they are like important in the world. They don't have that internally. Their identity is kind of like messed up because they didn't work for it. So if you don't come from a place of privilege, honey, this talk is for you because we're about to build true confidence. And it's going to piss a lot of people off when you are confident, and who cares? Let's get there. Someone said that's absolutely correct. All right, period. They need external validation. Yeah, exactly. And that's why we're going to talk about how if your identity is rooted in that, depending on where you get your identity from. So what I mean by that is your sense of identity rooted in your job? Is your sense of identity rooted in your relationship? Is that where you're starting to feel like, yeah, like now I'm finally worth something. I'm a wife. Now I'm finally worth something. I'm somebody's girlfriend. Now I got this. I got this job and it's paying me 6 figures and now I'm confident. Is that where your identity comes from? Where is your identity really rooted in? Where is your confidence coming from? Is it coming from your looks? Ladies, be honest. Is your confidence coming from your looks? Because you already know one day you can wake up and feel ugly. And what happened? Your whole day sucks now because you feel ugly. Or, this one's maybe a topic for another day, but maybe your confidence, if it comes from your looks, right? And you're depending on your looks to get into a relationship, now you have to really, really care so much about your looks because that's the main thing that got you into the relationship. Lest you let go of your looks or the person has some kind of issue with you physically, which sometimes they do that to play with you because they know that's where they just do that to play with you, unfortunately. Where does your confidence go? You know what I'm saying? Someone said, yes, who you are underneath it all. Yes, exactly. Someone said, my identity is in Christ Jesus. Amen. Amen. That is the only source of confidence I ever came across that was like, oh, nobody can take that away, because eventually you learn that people are just people, right? Where are you getting and things are just things. They can be taken away at any moment. Is that where your sense of well-being is coming from, truly, like deep down? Because you're never going to be happy. Someone said you're very smart. Thank you. Someone said nowhere. Look, situation, all unstable. Exactly. So that's why we're talking about how to build unshakable confidence. Okay? Something that people can't take away. Period. And yes, someone said, they got their identity from Christ Jesus. Amen. That's where I get mine from too. That's, a big part of my life. Let's talk about some other ways that we can build this sense of confidence. Okay, who this message is for, obviously anybody can listen, but my target audience on YouTube is, women. So if you're the kind of woman who's smart, self-aware, and has done the work, feel like you're doing everything right, but you're still secretly feeling shaky in your confidence, or constantly comparing yourself to other people, this thing is for you. Or if you feel like your identity is deeply rooted in something that's fluctuating, you're confident one day, not confident the next day, let's talk about it, okay? Especially if you have a feeling deep down like you don't feel free. And, if you feel, I noticed this, and I don't even know how to put this into words, but people who are deeply insecure, like, I don't even know how to say this, but they find a way to make that everybody else's problem, like in a way. And then if you actually are confident, that's very triggering to people. So you would think that like getting yourself to a better place where now you're finally confident and you've done the work on yourself, that will be like better, but actually in a way you start to trigger people too. So it's just like the weird things that happen. But what I want to say is that someone said pretty face is the flesh. Wait, hold on. Someone said pretty face is the flesh, who you are and what you truly stand for when no one's watching. Yes, and that's what they can't take away, and that's what makes people mad. Someone said they project progressively. They project aggressively. Yes. Yes. And, I see this come up with women a lot where they think that if they're finally beautiful, oh, this is so evil how they always play on a woman's looks to make you feel insecure. And it's like, no matter what you do, you're never going to be attractive to everybody. That's not even natural. Okay. So let's not even do that. That's why people have an issue with women who are extremely male centered, because they're not even basing their looks and well-being around the man they're with. They're trying to appeal to men, period, in general. You know how hard that is? People have different preferences for what they find attractive. And unfortunately, if you give somebody that amount of control over your own self-perception, over how you view yourself, ooh, watch the games that they start playing, because people trip off of that kind of power. So protect yourself. That's why we're talking about this today, because people will prey on you. OMG, how are you? I'm good. We're talking about how to build unshakable confidence today. That's today's topic. I only have until like 2-ish. So I'm going to try my best to get through this topic that is like so important and so valuable. So if you're on this live stream, that's awesome, because yeah, you get this in real time. Put your questions or comments while we're here. Okay, confidence is not about being loud or perfect. It's not about looking a certain way. It's about being uncontrollable. And I'm not saying that am I going live later? I might. Today I have time, so I might, but I'm not sure. But it will be recorded and put on my YouTube channel, this live stream. So confidence isn't about being loud or perfect. It's about being uncontrollable. And I don't mean that in a way that is like rebellious. I mean it in a way of psychological self-defense, okay? Like literally not being so controlled by other people's comments, thoughts, projections, like having stability internally, right? It's psychological self-defense. It's the thing that protects your peace, your goals, and your identity from people who don't have your best interest in mind. And I'm not here to make you paranoid and have you assuming that everybody is the enemy, okay? Like that's not healthy either. But humans are humans, okay? And everybody has their flaws. And unfortunately, like I said, power tripping is a thing. And people like to exercise their dominance over others for whatever reason, to get their feeling that they are confident, and to, you know, sometimes people do it in a way to make them feel better about themselves. And that's why we're talking about building true confidence, because if you're building your confidence off of like other people or off of controlling situations or making other people feel bad or making other people feel insecure, then you're not really truly confident. You are like a, you know, a sadist. Someone said, getting bullied growing up gave me social anxiety. How do I work on that? Okay. We actually talked a little bit about this on another live stream about, so social anxiety is basically like a fear of people. Why are you scared of people? First, you know, how much value are you placing on other people's opinion, other people's thoughts? Do you think other people are perfect too? Like, why do you, let's just talk about, like, first, just think about that. Why do I care so much what other people think? If you were, and then you have to work on your own confidence, right? And also, when we think too much about the past, obviously that means we're not in the present moment. In the present moment, are you currently getting bullied? And there's an exercise I did. I forgot what live stream. You can check out my channel. But basically, we talked about turning your insecurities into assets. So other people can only make you feel insecure if deep down you are insecure already. So whatever they bullied you about, do you really believe that internally? That's the real issue. It's not what they said. It's that what they said hit at something inside of you that you were already feeling about yourself. So if they were bullying you about your weight, right? How can you get to a place where their comments on your weight doesn't really matter? Do you have to work on that? You know what I mean? Or you can literally change and reframe the thought into a way that that insecurity is serving you. So, and turn it into an asset, because once you really believe that deep inside, that's also a part of psychological self-defense. So on another live stream I did, you know, believe it or not, like honestly, everybody gets bullied too. So when we are having social anxiety or we are extremely anxious or extremely depressed, we are thinking too much about ourselves. These issues are not unique to you. So I get, you don't want to know things people say to me. I did a live stream. I forgot what it was called. At this point, I'm just, you know, talking. But there was somebody I went out with who basically tried to make a comment at my chest size and try to make me feel insecure. Honey, I turned that shit around so fast, because that's not even something I'm insecure about, but it is something that people try to make me feel insecure about. So in that moment, I was just like, first of all, I didn't get offended. I didn't even let it go there, because I can already tell, like, why do you even feel the need to say that? You're trying to, you know, you're trying to put me down a little bit. Why? You're the one who asked me out. Red flag. Second of all, I, you know, have to work on that's not really an insecurity of mine. I had to be like, okay, well, small chest size is chic, actually. Having this size body is proportionate to my features. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're really confident inside, what can people really say to you? And if it really does make you feel uncomfortable, why? What can you do about it to make your self-opinion change? Someone said, I thought there was, okay, yeah. I'm streaming this on YouTube too. Someone said you have some solid knowledge. And also, someone said, I thought there was 100 plus in here, whole ass just for folks. Well, one person, 100 people, same energy, same message. And this whole live stream gets recorded and put on my YouTube channel for people who watch later. Okay? All right. So I hope that helps. Let me know if that helped. But yeah, so like I said, having true unshakable confidence is a form of psychological self-defense. It's a thing that protects your peace. Okay, you don't want people messing with that. You don't want one person's random comment to derail your whole day. I know we've all been there. Okay, like, it's not just me. It's a thing that protects your peace, protects your goals, and protects your identity from people who don't have your best interests in mind. So your true confidence is how you know, people love that word, power. True confidence is how you create internal power, internal sense of power, not performative self-esteem. So like I said at the beginning of this live stream, the concept of fake it till you make it, you know, that's really helpful for some people. That kind of gets them into the mentality of, like, you know, eventually becoming confident is just faking it if you have to. But we don't want to stay there. We want to eventually get to a place where we are feeling truly confident and not feeling like we're just performing it, right? Or just saying things to say it, trying to act. Sometimes insecurity even comes out like that. like trying to act so larger than life, like you have no flaws, but that's not really true. Actually, really confident people understand that they have flaws. Like that's kind of part of how they're not so hard on themselves, right? And they get to keep going because they don't let that bring them down for too long. So, what is true confidence? True confidence is not a mood, it's a muscle, it's something that you have to build. Confidence is psychological self defense. It protects your energy, your decisions, and your nervous system. So, ask yourself, is your confidence rooted in your identity or your image? Okay. Where do your insecurities come from? First of all, we all have insecurities. We all have insecurities, but where are your insecurities coming from? Are they not coming from you? Are they being projected onto you? That's a real thing. Are your insecurities coming from family, from society, from social media? The reason this matters is because a lot of the time, our insecurities are curated from other people, from external things that are not even our own internal voice. Understanding your own internal voice is going to be what helps you build true confidence, because that's something that you can control. If your insecurities are coming from other people's projections, other external things, then that's going to put you on this roller coaster. Okay. Someone said confidence comes from being competent. Yeah, exactly. From showing yourself that you can do hard things, right? So whose voice are you performing for, right? Like, where are your insecurities coming from? Are they your own, or are they being pushed onto you? Are you being told that you should be feeling that way? With women, the main example I can think about this, where this shows up, is with our looks, with our appearance. Like, we get pushed into this place of like, I have to look this way or I'm not going to be accepted. I have to look this way or I'm not going to be attractive. And the reason that this relates to my work, if you guys don't know, I'm a health and life coach. The reason that I wanted to talk about this today is because when you rewire your mind around health and fitness to not be in that diet mentality, or come from this place of like, oh my gosh, I hate the way I look, I literally have to change, this is unacceptable. Once you stop operating from a place of like literally self-hatred and from a place of like, I want to feel my best, I want to look my best for who? For myself. Like, I deserve to live a good life, I deserve to feel good, I deserve to be confident, I can do hard things even if, I don't like how I look in the mirror right now. There's things that I can do. What can anybody really say to you at that point, right? Especially once you get the results. There's nothing anybody can say. I want to help you get to that place because it's awesome. Okay? Confidence gets shaky when it's outsourced to the wrong standards. So is your confidence, ladies, is your confidence coming from men, maybe? Is your confidence coming from what men think is beautiful? Are you outsourcing your confidence to validation from other people? Maybe not men, just straight up validation. Do you need somebody else to tell you that you're beautiful to believe that you're beautiful? Is that where your confidence is coming from? Because obviously that will not be sustainable. Your confidence can get very shaky. And confidence is something that you want to be in control of just to enjoy a better quality of life. Why put that as a responsibility for other people? Confidence gets shaky when it's outsourced to the wrong standard. Okay, so what builds confidence? What creates unshakable confidence? You guys let me know in the chat. What makes you feel confident? I'm going to talk about something that maybe someone did mention it in the chat earlier. I'm going to just riff off of that because I agree that discomfort actually builds confidence, ironically. And something that is so weird, like, I don't know, I just, my business. But something I see is people literally being envious of other people's joy or other people's lifestyle, and not even lifestyle. I'm going to remove tangible things. I see people being envious of other people's joy, other people's attitude toward life, like just somebody who's happy go lucky and free and like I see people be jealous of those people, even if materially the other person is doing better. And that is just so strange to me because you don't know, and my light died. You don't know what other people, I'm so sad. I want my light to work. Okay, well, all right. You don't know what other people had to go through to get that attitude. Discomfort actually builds your confidence. Exactly. When you go through hard things, that's what shapes your life. So, in a way, you should be happy when you go through hard things. That's what's building you, that's what's making you confident. And I've seen time and time again people become strangely envious of people with resilient spirit, which is weird. And resilience and mental strength and all of these characteristics can only be built through having to overcome challenges, having to not only experience discomfort, but have some kind of stamina and endurance to remain, you know, what's it called, staying power throughout that time and overcome it. And then that's where their confidence came from. So it's like, how are you envious of that person, but you didn't go through what they went through? Like, you don't have the mental, like, framework that they are operating from because you never went through those things. And that's okay, but envy shouldn't be there at all. Like, that's so weird. Okay, so why discomfort builds confidence? Confidence, someone said being in alignment internally is the key. Yeah, that's what my whole page is about, inner work. I totally agree. And sometimes the question is how? How can I get into alignment? That's what my work answers, my 90-day program. Confidence comes from hard things, okay? Obviously, in the fitness realm, what's a hard thing? Lifting weights, right? That's why some people get really into lifting because they feel, like they are progressing, they're finally seeing results. Setting boundaries, okay? How uncomfortable can that be? All my ladies, my chronic people pleasers, how uncomfortable is it sometimes to be like, just say no? Why is that so hard for us? Who knows? Okay? Honestly, who knows why that feels so awkward and so weird to just say no sometimes, but that's kind of how you build confidence. You know why? Because you're building internal trust with yourself that you got you. You're not going to, you know, sacrifice your own sense of well-being for somebody else. If you don't even trust yourself inside to have that kind of barrier lovingly with people, with situations, if you don't trust yourself, how can you be confident? Okay, like I can actually talk about that topic for a long time. I'm not going to get into it today, but that is really true. Someone said that's facts. It's about trusting yourself. Yes, exactly. That's why liars have a low self-esteem, because they lie to other people and they lie to themselves, honey. Okay? So confidence comes from, hi, thanks for joining today's live stream. We're talking about building unshakable true confidence. And the earlier part of this live stream will be on my YouTube channel, so definitely go and look over there when I'm done. Okay? So, confidence comes from hard things, right? Lifting weights, setting boundaries, saying no sometimes. An example of, a boundary I had to set recently, I talked about this in my vlog that I just uploaded yesterday. If you haven't seen it, definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. But basically, I got invited to this birthday party. And I did get invited to a birthday party. And the thing is that it was like nightlife vibes, like it was late night party at a club, private club, whatever. And at first, automatically, my response was say yes, right? Because, just want to obviously not miss somebody's birthday. You want to show up. But literally in the days leading up to the birthday, I started feeling like so weird, like so much anxiety. And also, this I'm not gonna, I don't want to say too much, but it's not somebody that I'm like super close to, right? So it would have been just like, a fun thing to do, but I didn't feel, like that. Like I don't know, it was just like a out of the blue invitation. And then what I had to do was basically not go. Like I ended up declining the invitation, not going because internally for me, I know everybody's different and I'm not judging you if you're different, but I really can't do nightlife. Like I am not a nightlife person. I don't like to be around heavy drinking. I used to go out a lot and I just had to learn from experience that that environment isn't really for me, right? Especially when I made this transition in the past year to get into health and wellness. So, for me, it's right now at this time in my life, it's not personally worth it. I don't even have fun. That's another thing. Like if I was actually having fun when I did that, I would go, but it's not something that I really like to do unless I'm with people that I love and like it's a special occasion and stuff. So I did have to kind of be awkward and uncomfortable about it. And I ended up not going. And it's a weird thing to kind of explain to people, but you know what? I didn't even explain myself. I just had to make that internal decision to not go. And, Like, at the end of the day, you are the person that has your own back. So if I were to wake up hungover and miss my next day of like, you know, what was the next day? It was like a Sunday. Normally I do the sauna, I read. That's kind of like my relaxing reset day. If I wake up hungover, my whole day is sabotage. I don't miss that part of my life. You know what I'm saying? So that was a boundary I had to say. And sometimes it's okay to make people feel like, away if it's not coming from a hateful place. Someone said perfect timing because I have a business call soon and I'm nervous. Why are you nervous? I was talking about this yesterday, how I don't want to go back to that lifestyle. Yeah, if you know, right? So that's a perfect example of setting boundaries, is knowing when to say yes and when to say no. And when you learn that way of trusting yourself, like, okay, I got me. I'm not just going to like throw away everything that I'm doing for this person to make them happy to show up if it's going to, derail me personally. I love myself enough to make this decision. And, it's not it's called closing the door with an open heart. It's not from a place of I don't want to be there, I don't like you, F your birthday. Like, it's not from there. It's more like, I have a certain lifestyle now. I want to uphold it. And we can hang out in a different environment on a different day, So yeah. Confidence comes from hard things, lifting weights, setting boundaries, saying no. If your life has been full of challenges, full of turmoil, it's easy to be like depressed, anxious, right? But what ends up happening is you end up becoming really strong. And you cannot buy mental resilience. You cannot buy a strong mind. That is something that is literally shaped by life, shaped by experience, and it builds you. So you should be happy if you're having a hard time. Actually, I feel bad for people that are always so comfortable and don't have a reason or a fire underneath them to keep, striving for better things in their life, because they don't have a reason to. Why would they? They're so comfortable where they're at. How are they going to grow unless they're just naturally curious and they just, like learning? What's going to push them? Like, I'm going to speak for myself. What pushed me? And I'm not the richest person, but I did, steadily progress in my life. One of my favorite example is my neighborhood. Okay, I used to live in and this is no shade, this is just the truth. I used to live in a low income neighborhood. I did not feel safe there. I did not feel like I belonged there. I felt like my opportunities were very limited. I felt like easily I could spend my whole life here and never go anywhere. I didn't feel safe, which is, for women, it's really important for us to feel safe, just to, be confident and to go after things. Like, if you don't feel safe, you're basically still in survival mode. So I knew that I had to get out of that neighborhood, and steadily I kept working my way into better neighborhoods, better neighborhoods, better neighborhoods. And you think it's a superficial thing of like, okay, now I live in this zip code. But what it really is not only is it a new zip code, a new home, that is the aesthetic part of what it means to progress. But it's also new social circle, new people around you who are also in that zip code, new mindset, new scenery, new internal state. Now you feel safe. You know how many things you can do when you're feeling good, when you're feeling safe, when you showed yourself that you can get yourself out, like you can't really buy that. So discomfort, uncomfortable experiences is what builds you, and it makes you strong. Okay, so growth isn't comfortable. That's another thing. Everybody likes this motivational talk, growth mindset stuff on YouTube, and they like to just like watch it. People watch it really quick. Oh my God, nice talk. Yes. What's next? Close the damn laptop, go back to what they were doing. No, you need to do something about it. You need to let yourself be uncomfortable. And I've literally had clients tell me in my health coaching program how when we're starting to talk about self-sabotage and stuff, one of the things that comes up is that now they're finally, in a comfortable lifestyle. And for whatever reason, in their mind or subconscious, they feel like now it's time to let go of their health. What? What? Do you see the tricks our mind play on us? Like, I don't know why that happens, but sometimes people are so comfortable that they think if they make any kind of change, or if they evoke any kind of discomfort into their life intentionally, right? It's not like out of control circumstances that are going to now destroy your life. If you intentionally create a space for yourself to be uncomfortable, to grow, for some reason there's a fear that it's going to derail their life. And that's not true. So being super comfortable is almost dangerous sometimes if you can't ever get too comfortable. Have you ever heard that saying? Someone said, yes, this is how we learn and grow. Exactly. Even aesthetics and beauty have to do with alignment. It's a reflection of order and symmetry. Yes, that's why my pages are inner work and beauty, because there is a really deep relationship between those two things. I love that you said that and that you noticed that. I'm right there with you. Okay. So growth isn't comfortable. You don't gain confidence from watching, only from doing. So I'm sorry, but I can't deal with this. I can't deal with talking, 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 talking. I can do this. Oh, I already know that. Yeah, duh, I know that already. I can't talk, 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 talk. What are you actually doing? What are you actually doing? Like, people don't think they need a health coach, right? Like, I'll be talking to people and they're like, yeah, I know that already. Yeah. 10 years ago, I used to do this, I used to do that. And yeah, I know. I'll be like sharing things like, yeah, I know that already. Okay, so what are you doing about it? Why are you battling obesity? You know this already. What are you doing about it? How do you know all of this stuff and you're not doing anything, and you're watching your health fall apart and you're hurting the people that care about you because you're letting yourself go? Do you really know? Or, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you, okay, wait, if you know these things, you know these things, right? What are you doing with what you know? You're not that smart. You're actually kind of the opposite. And I'm not coming for people. This is just the work in coaching, is to get people to become aware of the lies they're telling themselves, the lies they're believing, their self-sabotage. It's coming from a place of love, and it's not like, judgmental. Agreed. I have stepped into putting in more work lately instead of talking about what I want from me. Okay, yes. And what I want to say to that, I'm going to add to that, because you know what happens? It's not you. That's why it's so important to educate yourself and just, learn as much as you can, because the more that you learn, the more you can design your life intentionally. You know what that is? The feeling of talking about doing something, talking about getting something done, is the same feeling you get from doing the thing. That's how tricky the mind is. You get the same dopamine from talking about that you did it versus actually doing it. So when we talk too much about what we're going to do, what we have to do, like, we just talk about it like out loud and other people chime in, and we're getting a little bit of affirmation about it. Guess what? In your brain, you're already thinking you did it. Why the hell would you go and take action to do it now? Your brain already got the dopamine from thinking that it did the thing. So if I'm on here, like, and I see this, I'm not coming for y'all, okay? I say all of this with love. I'm pushing love to y'all, but I'm going to give you some tough love right now. I see men do this a lot, and that's why women get mad. That's why women get mad, because talk, 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 all these things you're going to do. And that's why, people sometimes tune out, because it's like, okay, where's the action? And that's why, even if I, like, in a professional, like in my workplace, right, with clients, when I hear them doing that, I don't entertain it at all. I don't give them that boost of like, yeah, like, that's right. I don't even do that, because I'm going to do that when you do it, when you see the results. Oh, you can't coddle people into growth, into like succeeding and getting results. You can't. That's what your mom was for. Someone said, thank you for this message. I needed it. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Someone said, I lie to myself all the time. I still think Undertaker and Kane are real brothers. Okay, I don't know that reference, but a lot of us lie to ourselves. All right, let's demystify that a little bit. Okay, so growth isn't comfortable, and I might have to do a part 2 because I'm running out of time and I have to go. Relatable. I tell my partner he has to put more effort. He daydreams and talks too much. Yeah, we have to stop enabling the daydreaming, because they have to get to work. They have to get to work. With love, that's a feminine quality. With love. And another way people do this is by overly romanticizing and bringing up the past time they made an accomplishment, the past great things they did. They'll evade the present moment. They'll evade the things they have to do right now. They won't even confront what's happening right now. what they have to do right now, their current situation. I know people who are about to, let me not even get into their personal situation, but overly, celebrating the past is a way that we trick ourselves out of growing in the right now. That's what I'll say about that. Okay. So, yeah, enablers, enablers and comparison. Another obstacle people get in building confidence, building unshakable confidence, is being surrounded by enablers and having a habit of comparing themselves to other people. Oh, this is a good topic. I might have to do this topic again. This is a good topic. Let me know if you like this live. Leave me hearts on the screen. Follow me on TikTok. Leave me a like in the YouTube chat. Put a comment on, oh, someone said hello there. Hi, thanks for joining today's live stream. We're talking about building unshakable confidence. You can catch the beginning of this live stream if you just press rewind. I got my camera to work, so I'm really happy about that. But yeah, the risk of enablers and having the habit of comparison. All right. I don't even know. I have 10 minutes, and I don't think that's enough time to get into this as much as I want to start addressing it, but I'll do it as fast as I can, okay? Enablers keep you stuck because they don't challenge you. And this is a trait, I'm going to say it with love, of very weak people, to surround themselves with enablers. And also, those kinds of people are also very dangerous. It's the same concept of surrounding yourself with yes men and people like always constantly like kissing your, you know what? That's a trait of a very weak person. If you can't get challenged, if you can't like, um, take any form of criticism, you're not confident. And that's why confident people trigger those kinds of people, because they don't rely on that for their sense of worth. You know what I'm saying? So if you're constantly surrounded by people that are enabling you no matter what you do, obviously there's people in your life that are meant to do that, right? Like your kids, your partner, your family. Those people, are your built-in support system, meant to love you unconditionally. Okay, that's appropriate. But surrounding yourself with enablers in general is going to be not only the downfall of your confidence, but the downfall of your growth in life. Okay. Like, I'm sorry, like, you need to be challenged in order to grow. You need people who actually, and this is a big, what's it called? This is the big reason friendships break up and relationships break up. And it doesn't have to be. It's actually like, I think, a unnecessary form of conflict when people just basically can't take criticism because of their own pride, and then they assume that the person is saying that thing to hurt them or to make them, like, to belittle them or to say something about their character. Like, they'll totally like warp it and turn it into something that it wasn't, just to protect their ego. When, I'm Christian, guys, so my truth is the Bible. And in Proverbs, it says, like, I forgot that verse, but basically it says, dangerous are the compliments of an enemy, but truthful are the wounds of a friend, or something like that. And it's like, okay, so first of all, people who fall into that, they don't even really understand what love is. Love is calling people out when they can be doing better, or like being honest. Do you want somebody to hold that inside, never tell you that they have an issue with you, or they have an issue with something you did, and then go behind your back and, like, how is that loving? So, enablers keep you stuck. They don't challenge you. Surrounding yourself with people who never say anything that you're doing wrong. How is that love? How is that true friendship? How are you ever going to grow? Are you kidding me? You know how many people do that to me all the time, and I'm happy about it now. Like, I got pushed into this place that I'm in now, where I do feel confident. Enablers keep you stuck. They don't challenge you. Comparing yourself to someone on a different timeline steals your power. Obviously, we understand comparison is the thief of joy, right? And ooh, this is also another trait of mentally strong people, is that if they're going to compare themselves, okay, they do not compare themselves to the person up here. They'll compare themselves to the person here. And I'm like, my industry is like this. So my brain is just trained to always be like going forward. Like, I train myself to always think of a solution. And I notice that pisses people off. Like, sometimes people want to stay Like, they'll argue with me to stay where they are, even though they're saying they want to get to this place when I'm telling them the solution. So, like, your brain can literally fight you. Like, your subconscious mind can really fight you and hold you back if you're not aware of what's happening. And if you are going to okay, you want to be mentally strong, you want to stop letting comparison run your life. Here it is. Compare yourself to people who are less fortunate than you, and then you'll experience what gratitude is. And anytime I hear somebody complaining, I just want to be like, I really don't even listen. It goes like this, because I wrote this on my Substack. Subscribe to my blog if you're not already. But I was like, for 2025, you know what's out? Bitching, moaning, complaining, bickering. That's out. Like, I'm sorry, you're weak. Like, that's a weak trait, okay? Because I like thinking about the solution. And compare yourself to people down. What do I mean? Okay. I know we all love therapy. We're also woke, right? We love going to use these therapy terms. Oh, you're a narcissist. Oh, you don't make me feel seen. Oh, blah, blah. Like, all of these terms that sometimes, I'm sorry, people don't even know what it means, and they're just using it to like win an argument. And something that I see is like, I don't know, whenever somebody complains, just naturally out of reflex, because I have a coach, I just always like give it back to them to reframe it so that it doesn't hold them back in their own mind. So it's hard to go into this really quickly, but like, for example, people have issues with their parents, right? They are so quick to be like, oh, my mom did this wrong. Like, she's a bad person. I would never do that. My dad did this. He wasn't there. Da da da. And I'm always like, you know, it could be so much worse. Like, I don't know. I just always got into the habit of comparing myself to people that are less fortunate than me. So it's like, anytime you complain, you have to think about the people that don't have access to that thing that you have, you know, even if your situation is god awful and you really want to be out of it. It's not a way of accepting what you're in, but just learning to compare yourself to people that have less will just make you more empowered. It will make you feel more grateful. So, like, okay, I can go into that, but I'll save that topic for another day. But the core of that message is like, don't measure yourself against somebody in a completely different lifestyle or privilege level. Someone said, yes, let go of the victimization mindset. Oh my gosh, yes. And you know what? That is a spiritual problem too, of always needing to be the victim. And then some people will like, yeah, it's true. It's true. You know who did a good video about that? Pastor Darby, Stephen Darby Ministries. If y'all are ready to be on fire for the Lord, go to his channel. He talked about the victim mindset and how that's like spiritual oppression, if you're trying to go that way. So benefits of unshakable confidence. I'm about to let y'all go to my appointment. But benefits of unshakable confidence. Ooh, like I said, I started the video off with this and I'm going to say it again, because why? Your mind likes repetition. The more you repeatedly hear something, the more it will register as truth in your subconscious. And that's why you have to be really careful about what you're watching, who you're listening to, because the more that you hear things, the more you're going to really just accept it as truth, right? You need to be having a conscious filter on what you're taking in. Benefits of unshakable confidence. 1, no longer being manipulated by approval, perception, or rejection. Because at any given moment, any day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You got to be like, I only care what God thinks. You know what I'm saying? But psychological self-defense is the number one reason I think it's important to develop really deep levels of confidence, because you'll protect yourself against predatory people, manipulative people, the need to approve people, the need to be perceived a certain way, because now you're always in a state of having to control how people think about you, how people look at you. Newsflash, you'll never ever have control over that. People will think whatever they want, and sometimes they'll do things on purpose to make you mad, and they'll say things they know are not true just to get your emotions because they're insecure. Okay, so this is the protection you need, is learning to build confidence. Benefits of it: no longer being manipulated by approval, perception, rejection. You stop shape-shifting and start designing the life that you actually want. Are you living the life you really want? Or are you living a life that was told to you that this is how you should be? Or do you feel limited? Anything you want to do, you can literally do if you just take small steps to get there. And we psych ourselves out by thinking like, oh my God, I have to do like so many things. You need to take your big goal. Here's the secret. You take your big goal, you break that big goal up into small goals, and you do those small goals one at a time. And then you have to have the staying power of letting time go by and being consistent. That's not something that, I can give you. You have to do that for yourself. But creating the life that you want is absolutely possible. And having unshakable confidence will help you get there because you stop shape shifting and you start designing the life that you actually want. And then, you know what happens? Your confidence compounds because now you're living life on your own terms. You're living the life that you want. Okay? You become untouchable to predatory energy. And predatory energy is not limited to a gender. Anybody can be predatory. Even a circumstance can be predatory. A situation can be predatory. You become untouchable to predatory energy in dating, in work, in family. Okay? You stop rushing and you start trusting. That is part of what builds unshakable confidence. Okay, guys, if you liked this live stream, definitely watch the beginning on my YouTube channel. And I also want to mention my 90-day body transformation program. I'm offering free consultations to completely overhaul your health, your wellness. It's not limited to just weight loss. Okay, it is a health and wellness overhaul. That obviously will help you build your confidence as a natural consequence. So inside my 90-day body transformation program, we don't just work on fitness, we rebuild your identity. We develop the discipline, confidence, and self-trust to follow through. Because when you realize that you can do hard things, your confidence becomes unshakable, like we talked about, and your body becomes the evidence of that power. Your body is a mirror. If you're ready to step into that, I offer free consultations until August 1st. My website is always up on my TikTok, on my YouTube channel. And just remember, confidence isn't only about looking confident and faking it. It's about being unshakable even when nobody is watching. And we can build that together through my transformative 90-day program. Okay, I'm going to let you guys go in a second. Let me know any comments that you have in the chat. Rewatch this from the beginning if you missed it. I think this was a really good live. I hope my audio was okay. And thanks for joining this on TikTok. Try to catch me next time too. I'm trying to go live more often. So yeah. Did you guys enjoy this live? Leave me a like on the chat. Leave me a like on YouTube. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye, TikTok. Bars, period. Thanks for the likes. All right. Bye, YouTube. See you guys next time.